You're sad a lot. You're sad a lot for your loved one. But I always tried to put myself in his shoes. And I tried to focus on my love for him after 40 years. We were best friends. We were soulmates. We were confidants. And I don't have any of that anymore. There's a time when you go from being a spouse that you think of yourself more as a caregiver than you do as a spouse. My name is Barbara. My husband's name is Patrick. And I have been a primary caregiver for 5 years and a caregiver for 5 years. My husband was diagnosed with Alzheimer's in 2011, and I had him with me for the first almost 5 years. And then, unfortunately, it was to the point that I couldn't care for him by myself anymore. He's in final stages of Alzheimer's. He is currently bedridden. When I visit him, which is every other day, he doesn't recognize my face, but when I say my name, he has the name recognition. I mean, we've been married for 40 years. It's not surprising that he remembers the name. So when he hears the name, he will reach up for a hug and say, "I love you." I can hear that, I can understand that. And then he'll want another hug. He goes like this with his finger, and I know that means he wants a hug. And he can give pretty strong hugs. It's heartwarming, but it's heartbreaking because I see him there day after day after day. We cannot move him into a wheelchair. We tried that, but he has this fear of falling. So any movement in the bed, causes him to get panicky. So it's difficult for them to bathe him and change him, and that's heartbreaking too because he's really scared. He is really scared. They do the best they can. They're as gentle as they can be, but they have to keep him clean and keep him changed. So that's heartbreaking for me. When my husband was diagnosed, we weren't really surprised at the diagnosis. Actually, both of us had noticed his, memory loss in leading up. He didn't talk too much about it, but I noticed it. And then we said to each other, "Something's wrong." And he said, "I know." So that's when we went to the family doctor, got the diagnosis, and we both looked at each other, and he said to the doctor, "I knew you were going to say that." It's hereditary in his family. Currently, he has 9 siblings, and so it started with his mother, his oldest sister, himself, his middle sister, and his younger sister. So my husband would say to me, "I remember my mother, I remember my mother." And that would be heartbreaking for him because he knew that he was going to face that. He knew one day that he would have to face that. Early on, he would just burst into tears. He didn't know why. I knew why, simply because he knew what was facing him. And that just makes you, as the loved one, just makes you all more determined. My husband has been through all 6 stages slowly, where I know some people go through them faster, and each one has involved delusions. They were the hardest for me to have to deal with when I had him at home. Even when he got into the home, that was the primary behavior that was really difficult. So at this stage, I'm actually finding this stage the hardest because it's just there's nothing you can think that okay, well, I might expect this or I might expect that. There's nothing you can expect. It's like a limbo state. As a caregiver, primarily when he went through the delusions, that really caused a lot of angst for me because I couldn't communicate with him. When he was home, his delusion was called delusional infidelity, and I think everybody knows what fidelity means. I totally was taken aback after being married for so many years. I couldn't get through to him. I couldn't talk to him. He would just get angry, not violent, but just get angry give me stern looks, wouldn't talk to me. That was hardest. To this day, I don't know how I did it, but I did. just hoping that they would soon end, and on to the next stage. And it was hard to involve family for support because you didn't really want to tell them, what he was thinking. I took advantage of the day programs with Alzheimer's, so I would take him there 4 days a week, for the day. That helped give me a break. I brought in, on the days he didn't go, on the weekends, I brought in a caregiver just to keep him company so that I could get out and, just go have a coffee or visit a friend or do some retail therapy. That's basically how I coped, but I was, with him 24/7. So that's how I did it at that time. Just took advantage of any opportunity to get a bit of a break. People say, "Are you ready for when he passes?" And I'll say, "How do you get ready for that? You make plans, you do this, but how do you get ready for that? I don't know. I just have to handle it the way I've handled everything else." I would advise every caregiver to not try to do everything themselves, to reach out for support. I didn't. I thought I could do everything myself. And it proved that I couldn't because I got sick. You have to learn to take care of yourself. And I don't know how many times I heard people tell me that, and I didn't know why they were saying take care of yourself. I really didn't. I learned how important it was. I wasn't ready for the wave of emotions from day one, from the day that he went in that home. I wasn't aware. I wasn't ready for all the emotions. I thought that, okay, this will be better now. This will be better. He's in the home. I get a bit of a break. I'll still be there to take care of him. I was not prepared for that wave of emotions. They would just whoosh, wash over you. And if you're by yourself, what do you do with them, right? What do you do with them? You don't want your loved one to see you upset. You don't want your family to see you upset. I don't want my kids or grandkids to see me upset because then they'd be upset. So you keep it to yourself. And I find that from a lot of caregivers that I talk to, a lot of families that I talk to. You feel guilty about being, having emotions. How can I have emotions? Look at my loved one. He's in his home. He doesn't want to be here. He has enough sense, of what's going on to a degree. He knows he doesn't want to be there. He's frightened. They're frightened. They don't know. They've lost that person that they were with 24/7. Yeah, I mean, and you know that. And that really does bring a lot of guilt. Guilt is just part of this journey. Accept it, own it, and try to deal with it. Because I have to say, it doesn't go away. One of the biggest things I got from our local society is validation on what I was going through, and validation on what and how I was feeling. That's huge. I called them up. I spoke to a counselor. I told her where we were. We went within that week in to talk to her, and both of us told her that we wanted to know as much about this disease as we could, because we thought if we know more, we can handle more. And it did work out that way, mostly for me, not for my husband. We attended, early diagnosis seminars, the two of us. We attended early diagnosis couples seminars. Then as he progressed, he went to day programs. I went to support groups. I think we did just about everything that the Alzheimer's Society had to offer. And I would find so many times when new families came to the home, they knew nothing about the disease, hadn't bothered to find out, were shocked at everything that they were going through. And then I said, well, I was grateful that I did what I did. I think as caregivers, the biggest thing is to reach out for support. That is going to help you stay healthier, physically, and emotionally and help you get through this journey, as they call it. I always objected to that word because I thought to myself, what caregiver would call this, what caregiver would pick this journey? I think journey as a vacation, as a trip, as an adventure. Sorry, it wasn't any of those. I can't say enough about taking advantage of being with other caregivers, like if your loved one is in long-term care, or if your loved one isn't, you can attend support groups. You can make yourself available to go to seminars or anything that you can do. Get somebody to take care of your loved one for a while. It helps a lot. It really does. And I think that's taking care of yourself as well. A part of taking care of yourself is relying on your own abilities, trusting those abilities, trusting that you're going to get through this. I had to learn that. I had to learn to trust myself, because you want to say, I can't do this, I can't do this. But you know, you can't. You can't say that because you've got a loved one to take care of. And you know that you're never going to stop. You're always going to be there to take care of them no matter what. And that's what I've done.